Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I am Lukenessmonster, and this is Ask Lukenessmonster 68, the series on the channel where I answer your guys' questions from the comments down below. If you guys do want your questions answered in next week's video, comment down below in this week's video, and I'll try my very best to answer it. We've also been doing a segment on the channel called Customs, Collections, and Recent Pickups, where you guys submit your photos of customs, collections, and recent pickups, and I'll feature them on the channel. Unfortunately, this week we are actually going to skip that segment. It will return next week, but this week we are just going to jump right into the first question. Real quick though, if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure to hit that sub button, because we are doing a giveaway. Once we hit 5k, we are giving away this ARC Trooper Echo. You do have to be subbed to the channel to enter though, and the giveaway will be international, so anybody in the world can win if they'd like to, but you do have to be subbed to the channel. So anyway, on to the first question. The first question from Jonathan Anderson. He said, "Hey Lukeness, thanks for showing off my collection. I really appreciate all of the kind words. For Ask Lukenessmonster, what Black Series figure do you want Hasbro to make, but has the lowest chance of getting made?" So, yeah, no problem. Thank you for submitting your collection. I do really appreciate it. And a figure that I want that I don't think will get made, well, fives. No, I'm joking. I do really want fives, though, and as of right now, it feels like they're never going to make it, just because we've been asking for it for like 2 to 3 years now. But since they did make Echo, heck, it's almost been a year now since Echo. Not really. I don't know. It's been about 6 months, I guess, since Echo hit stores, so yeah, I mean, we'll get fives eventually, but it just feels like a long time. For like realistically though, I feel like a Mustafar Anakin that's like all burnt up and lava-y. Like, he's already Darth Vader, but he hasn't got put into the suit yet. I know they made one of these back in the 2005 Revenge of the Sith days. I think it'd be a cool figure to get. I only think that just Disney wouldn't allow Hasbro to make it, only because it's kind of like a gorish figure. It has a lot of burns and scars, and yeah, it's just not something that I don't think Disney would want to have on toy aisles around different stores. And plus, you know, back in 2005, they didn't really have the technology to make it look super good, but now that Hasbro has that kind of technology, this thing could look pretty scary too. So, Echo Brick asks, "Have you ever considered collecting G.I. Joe, the Classified series, and what is your opinion of it based on its look?" So I've never really considered collecting GI Joes. I've seen them in stores and I've thought about picking a few up, but it's just not something I've been super interested in. I've seen some of the movies and the TV shows, but it's just, like I said, nothing I really got into. And only figure I thought about picking up was Snake Eyes after I saw that Snake Eyes movie there that just came out, but I ended up passing on it. The next question says, "Do you think the Black Series will ever do a Build-A-Figure? If so, how often should they do it, and which should they do first?" So I think if they were to do a Build-A-Figure, it would have to be in every mainline wave, considering they only do 2 to 3 mainline waves a year. So, I mean, I think that'd be pretty good, 2 to 3 Build-A-Figures a year. I think if you put them in exclusive waves, it just wouldn't go very well, because exclusives are hard enough to find already. If you want that Build-A-Figure, you'd have to get all of them, and it'd just be a whole lot more painful than it would really need to be. And what would be realistically, like, what was a Build-A-Figure they could do first? I feel like most Star Wars characters aren't like super big characters. I know with Marvel Legends, they're normally like bigger characters. Like, I know the Endgame wave was Thanos. He's a bigger character. With Star Wars, there aren't a ton of bigger characters you could do like that. So I would hope that they would actually do like animals or creatures rather than characters. I think like a Blurgg, Build-A-Figure Blurgg, one comes with the body, then other 4 come with like the arms and legs or something. You know, something to that extent where it's an animal that they wouldn't really release normally. Maybe you do one of the like the Geonosian Arena animals. Say, you know, a leg is in each of the boxes, half of the body's in one box, half the body's in the other box. I don't know, something like that. I just think that animals have a whole lot more potential for Build-A-Figure than a normal-sized character. Sammy Seymour asks, "Do you think we'll get another TIE Fighter in the Black Series, but instead of First Order, an original Trilogy version?" I really hope so. I know how cool that original First Order TIE Fighter is. It is getting decently expensive on the aftermarket nowadays, so unfortunately that is bad. But when it first came out, this thing peg-warmed really hard, and that's because it was pretty expensive. I don't know the exact price, but I know it was over $200, and it is massive too. Like, this thing could be a coffee table. It is really, really big because it is in 6-inch scale. So I think the First Order one didn't sell as well just because, one, is super expensive, but two, it's not the same color as the Imperial TIE Fighter, so I think the Imperial TIE Fighter would sell a whole lot better than the First Order one did. So I think there's a possibility of getting the Imperial one, but who knows. I do really hope Hasbro gets back into vehicles though, because the last vehicle we got was the Snowspeeder. This was back in 2020, and 2021 is almost over. So hopefully they do more vehicles. I'm hoping with 2022 here, right around the corner, they'll do some Attack the Clones ships, maybe like a Obi-Wan's Jedi Starfighter. I think a Slave 1 would be super cool, but this thing would be massive. It would have to be a HasLab if they did do a Slave 1. But I think a Jedi Starfighter would be pretty reasonable. Unknown user asks, do you think Hasbro will release remarkable clone troopers such as Jesse Fives, Neo, Bakara, Havoc, Blitz, and Apo? I don't really know what you mean by remarkable troopers, but I do think Hasbro is going to make every single one of those clone troopers at one point or another. I think clone troopers are really bringing in Hasbro money, considering one, they're army builders, but two, they're super popular. They can never seem to stay in stock, and I know Hasbro sees that, so I think they're going to keep on trying to pump out as many clone troopers as possible. So I think eventually, within the next 5 years, they're going to try to hit every single clone trooper on that list. Hopefully, we'll get some of those Revenge of the Sith clone troopers first, just because they're the last two we need, Neo and Bakara. They're the last two Revenge of the Sith clones we need. After that, they're all Clone Wars, so... Gonk Prime asks, if you could have one original Trilogy Black Series figure made, what would it be, and where can you post your display? So you can actually post your displays on Instagram, your customs, collections, or recent pickups. If you use the hashtag #Lukenessmonster, I will try my very best to feature it in one of the next few videos. It might not be right away, but I will try my very best to getting to every single one posted. One original Trilogy character that I really want to see Hasbro make is a Force Ghost Anakin. They've made Obi-Wan and they made Yoda. I think they just have to make Anakin now to complete the trio. I feel like it's pretty iconic, and I would love to see a translucent blue Revenge of the Sith Anakin body. That'd just be super cool. So yeah, gotta go with Force Ghost Anakin. The next question says, if you could make an archive wave of 3 figures, what would it be? That is tough. I know archive waves are normally 4 figures, but if I only had to pick 3, I'd have to go with starting Echo, and that's only because, one, he was a Target exclusive and he was super hard to find, so I just feel like for everybody's sake, releasing him in archive would be the best move, just so everybody has a fair chance to get him. After Echo, that's tough. I think next up, I would have to go with the original Sand Trooper. I know we are starting to get more troopers on the new Stormtrooper body, which is great. I absolutely love that new Stormtrooper body, but I do think the original Sand Trooper is an excellent figure, and we haven't really got a modern release of him since the Entertainment Earth 4-pack, and I guess the Do backpack as well. Both of those are pretty expensive sets, and they haven't really released a Sand Trooper in, I guess, must have been 2 or 3 years now. So I do really hope that they re-release him, just because he's such a great figure. And then I think the next one is kind of along the same lines with army builders, but either the Imperial Shadow Scout Trooper or Imperial Shadow Stormtrooper. Either one of the two from this 2-pack with the speeder bike. Both are super cool looking figures, and they have not been released since like Heck, it might have been 2014 or 15 now. It would have been 2014 because it is blue box. So, yeah, these figures haven't been released in forever, and I'd love to see them get re-released. And considering that they were part of a 2-pack as well, they were decently expensive at the time of release. So, hopefully they do a re-release of one of these two eventually. Mitch asks, if you could only get one figure from Wave 31, not including Boba and Finnick, who would it be and why? Mine is Bib Fortuna. So, yeah, that is a tough question because I think Finnick and Boba are easily the 2 best figures from that wave. But if I had to pick one that's not them, I would probably go with, like you said, Bib Fortuna. I really want to make a Jabba's Palace display, and Bib Fortuna I feel like is an essential character for that display. I don't have a Jabba yet, which sucks, so hopefully they do a re-release of Jabba the Hutt eventually, but I think Bib Fortuna would be a great start to a display like that, and I think that he is a decent necessity for it as well. Commander Thorn asks, where is your main place to get figures? Great question. I mainly shop online just because it's easier, and most stores don't stock really their shelves very well. I can go to Walmart, Target, all stores like that, and they just don't ever have anything on the shelves. So most of the time I do online, but if I do go in stores, I mainly go to GameStop. They tend to have their shelves stocked pretty well. They're not always the best figures. Sometimes they are peg warmers, but nevertheless, they still restock pretty consistently. Every maybe 2 weeks they'll get a restock, which is really good considered. Like, I know my Target has had the exact same Grief Karga for over 7 months now, and they have not got any new figures in since then. So Yeah, GameStop is definitely the way to go if you're looking for in stores. The next question says, do you think we'll ever get a Jack 14 figure? Absolutely not. I do not. One, he's not canon. Two, he's based off of a Lego TV show. I absolutely loved that Lego TV show when I was growing up, but I just don't see it happening. Cool character, but honestly, I think a figure for this guy would be super cool as well. Imagine like a maroonish, like a white maroon colored clone trooper with a translucent blue arm. That'd be super cool, but I just don't see it happening. I don't think it would be popular enough to actually sell. So Jay Prasad says, should Adam Driver return to Star Wars universe? Absolutely yes. He carried the sequel trilogy on his shoulders. I'd love to see him come back. I don't care if he comes back as Ben Solo, Kylo Ren, or a brand new character. I just liked him to come back to the universe because I really did like what he did. The next question says, which Delta Squad member do you think we will see next? If I had to guess, I'd say probably Sev. That's only because he requires the least amount of remolds. He uses the exact same helmet and backpack as Boss. So, maybe a different shoulder pad and maybe a different shin piece. But for the most part, he is just a reuse of the Boss body we already have. So yeah, I think Sev would be the next one if we do get him. And then the last question from Mark, he says, love your videos, you're my favorite YouTuber. Thanks, man, I do really appreciate it. And he says, what are your opinions on the Bousque figure? So I actually recently did just get this figure, so yeah. I am actually really impressed with it. It does not have the best articulation. It is a pretty old figure, so he does have a hard time hitting 90 on his elbows, so that does kind of suck. But I think the mold itself looks incredible. He actually does have an articulated jaw. I did not know that, so super cool. And yeah, he just looks incredible. So hopefully they do like a remake of him or a remold just to get him some better articulation, but the mold on its own is very good, and it definitely surprised me for being like one of the first few Black Series figures. So yeah, that is actually going to do it for the video. If you did enjoy, that like button and subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video.